My name is J.R. Amantea. I'm the founder and CEO of GT Motorcars. Cars kind of started as a young age. I think it was kind of, you're either born with it or you don't have it, I feel like. My dad was into Corvettes as a hobby. Everybody thinks he did it as a business. He was an engineer and surveyor by trade. I think my first Corvette show was Corvettes of Carlisle. I was 2 years old. It all was downhill from there. It spiraled out of control. My dad bought a 63 Corvette split window in 65, and we still have them today. And then I would go in the garage and watch my dad work on the cars, and I'd take the cars apart with him. I'd go through the judging sheets. It just really took over. I would take Corvette books to school, in elementary school, middle school. I'd put them in my school books and read the judging manuals. It was almost, dominated what I did. I mean, I played ice hockey, was into Corvettes. Those are my two big things. It just stuck. I mean, people would call my parents' house when I was in middle school asking to speak to me because they were in the middle of a restoration. They want to consult me or get my opinion. And at Bloomington Gold, used to have to take a test to judge. So I was a Bloomington Gold judge at 15. I was an NCRS judge. I started at 6, 7 years old. I was a master judge at 12. There's a lot of judging hours to get to be those levels. So I did that. I restored cars in high school and college, Corvettes mostly. Worked investment banking, did my CFA, and took my financial analysis, did all that for several years after school. And 10 years ago this month, started GT Motorcars out of my parents' house. My now wife, Maris, and I were 5, 6 months into dating. We were at the NASCAR All-Star Weekend, and Mr. Hendrick has several Corvettes of mine in his collection, and we did a private tour through his museum. We walked out of there after 3 hours of me giving his curator a tour and telling her about each car and why they're unique. She's like, "Your passion is cars. You need to be doing something with cars." I'm like, "I don't know. There's a lot of money. You need a lot of money to do all this stuff." She's like, "You need to find a way because your passion is really cars. I've never seen you light up like this." Worked on a business plan, went to the local economic development to try to get a loan, went to the local bank, tried to get a loan, and they looked at me and were like, I had this big comprehensive business plan, financial projections, and they're like, "Wow, who did this business plan? Who did these financial models?" I'm like, "Oh, I did." And the banker was like, "No, I know you got them, but who did them?" I said, "No, I did. This is like what I do for a living. I'm, worked on Wall Street like this, a lot of years of financial modeling under my belt here." So I did that and struck out, but we tried. Got that business plan and tossed it up in the air. So I worked at my parents' garage. I mean, I had at one point 3 Corvettes being fully restored, 2 of them being frame-off restorations at the same time. Then I had a couple of clients reach out to me after I started advertising saying, "Hey, JR, I didn't know you're doing this. What's this GT Motorcars? Is this you?" I'm like, yeah, it's me. One client that I knew since I was a kid used to see me in the judging field. He's like, "Hey, my partner and I were selling our collection," and he had 18 Corvettes. Of the 18, there were 6 LED8s, which is the holy grail of Corvettes. So we sold, all 6 of them. That gave us a big kickstart. Solely did auctions. Barrett Jackson, Meekum. I mean, Dana Meekum's known me since I was 13 years old because he used to own Bloomington Gold. I'm like, okay, now I need more space. So I rented a 2,500 square foot industrial complex. Then I rented the 2 adjacent complexes, and I was packed. It was just me at this point. My wife would help, my dad, another friend of mine, Ryan, he would help. He was a race car driving instructor, but I was working 24/7. I mean, I was the truck driver, the detailer, the salesman. We just got a website up and going. We just started doing some retail. I started using that capital to just parlay to buy some of our own inventory. That got me exposed into the newer exotics. And again, just me. I didn't have a sales team. I was taking engines out of cars, doing frame-on restorations. I mean, it was getting cars judged. Believe me, I know every facet of this business. It's funny, here we are 10 years into this, but I've had people that talk to me on the phone but never met me, see me at Cavallino, and ask, "Oh, I'd like to meet JR." I'm like, "Oh, I'm JR." No, the owner. I'm like, "Yep, that's me." Like, oh, they didn't anticipate me working on cars. I'm very hands-on. Said to myself, wow, after a year here, I need more room because it was taking me an hour to move one car. The 3 cars in front of the car that I needed were dead. So I'd have to push those out on go jacks myself and then get that car. I'm like, this is just an inefficient use of time. So we moved into our bigger space and moved into a 12,000 square foot facility in industrial park in Connecticut, in Wallingford, right between Hartford and New Haven. So we were 90 miles outside New York City. Doesn't sound like a lot. To get someone to drive from New York City up to Wallingford, Connecticut, 90 miles, an hour and a half with no traffic, 2.5 hours of traffic, I might as well ask them to fly to Istanbul, Turkey. Just, it wasn't happening. But that's where I was at the time. I'm like, you know, people will find us. Grew more consignments, grew our business, started getting more into the Ferrari stuff, the 360s, the 430s. You know, again, manuals, again, because I stuck to my niche. What I've learned, anytime I ventured off of the reservation, oh, that guy's selling GT3s, I'm gonna get some GT3s, we'll sell GT3s. I get welded to them, and I'm married to them for a year or two. So I've learned, stay in your lane, stick to your niche, and that's it, yeah? Because there's another person that does that specialty. Look, I'm in this facility, it's 12,000 square feet. I remember my dad looking at me saying, wow, this is a big place. He's looking around, he's like, Jesus, this is big. You may have enough car stuff put in here. This is big. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure we'll fill it. No employees at the time, you know, one-man operator. You know, and my dad and wife and another guy would work for me part-time, just, you know, if I needed help. I think we had like 22 cars at the time. Again, I 24/7. I mean, that's all I know is 24/7 around the clock. And I think the Wall Street mentality, background, training just trained me. There are no days off. You don't sleep. You just work until the job's done. And people like to touch and feel and smell these cars, especially when they're spending 7 figures. One of our biggest clients was a walk-in, and we became like family friends. I mean, they were at our wedding. I mean, one of his sons worked for us. We do racing together, and he really pushed me into the deep end of the pool of Ferraris. So I'd be reading the Ferrari books, I'd be comparing each car, each part, just looking, and they're all hand-built, and everyone's different. Euro cars, US cars, really even 2 Euro cars and 2 US cars, 2 aren't the same, so I'd be, you know, looking, comparing these cars. And then we started winning all these platinum awards with Cavallino. And, you know, I took my restoration, you know, knowledge and preservation of cars to the Ferrari world. So we were really fortunate enough to win some of these unrestored preservation awards, which are really hard to get because they only give like 1 or 2 out per event. So I feel like my Corvette training gave me a good background because as far as judging goes, Corvette judging is light years ahead of anybody else. Like they were doing preservation 30 years ago, and Pebble Beach didn't even do preservation until the past 6 to 10 years. Connecticut was home, was always home for us. You know, started my business there. We were 9 years in our other facility, and we decided to really take our business to the next level and to continue to grow, you know, our business, our client base, and to be closer to our customers. We really have to be, you know, where all the activity is. And our big hub was Florida. So we came to Palm Beach, Florida. And we have a great space, massive facility, 30,000 square feet that we're growing with. That's helping us get to the objective that we want to get to grow our services, to grow our footprint, and to grow, you know, our business. And in the past 9 months, we've had more walk-in traffic than we had in 9 years in Connecticut, really. It's been challenging, it's been fun, it's been a whole new level of growth for us. I would say as each month we're hitting our stride. You know, the past, I'd say 3 years, been climbing up in the supercar space. I'd say we probably sold more F40s in the US than anybody, more Ferrari supercars than anybody else. You know, that's really been my specialty is Ferrari Halo cars. Yeah, we'll do a couple other cars, Porsches, non-Porsche, non-Ferrari stuff, but our really core specialty and passion is the Ferrari Halo cars. Our core business is really buying and selling really specialty, niche, investment grade collector cars. Most of our clients like to show their cars at the concours events, like Cavallino, which is so convenient for us now, where we used to have to truck cars down 2,000 miles away. Now we're a 10-minute drive and a very short trailer ride. So it's super convenient for us there. We're very active with Cavallino. We have, you know, open house. Another facet of our business is the portfolio management for collector cars. So again, taking my financial background, how do I apply it to the collector car world? 10 years of car data. We have our own analysis that we do. We work with portfolio managers, with collectors themselves, with lawyers that have, you know, trusts. So we help clients set all that stuff up. You know, we work with a couple different wealth management teams that recognized after COVID that collector cars are an asset class, mainly because they became more mainstream with bring a trailer sales and CNBC attending some of the auctions and making a lot of the sales public. You know, people in the collector car world already knew about these sales and knew about this space and as an alternative asset class, but now wealth management firms are looking at it more so as alternative asset class. So we've had a leg up on that because that's really the language we speak. So we work with a lot of clients that want to build new collections, have existing collections that they want to reorganize, basically like you would a stock portfolio. If you're trying to be diverse or have a certain collection, maybe having the big 5 halo cars isn't for everybody, for their goals, objectives. For some people it is. It all depends on what their end goal is. So that's where we come in, because we know the market, we know the cars. Cars are not totally liquid, but they're fairly liquid. You can't just hit the sell button. It does take a little bit of time to sell your asset. And we get a lot of clients like that want to have us advise them on their whole collection and kind of be their manager for their portfolio of collector cars. So if you're one of those people or never thought about it like that, but really you say to yourself, yeah, it is really an asset class that I need to really treat as one. And some people have firms that address all of this, but they'll work with specialists like us for the cars because, most advisors aren't going to know the car space. So we're lucky to have that cross-pollination from finance and cars and mesh that asset class together. Most of the cars we sell, most of them don't leave because most people don't drive the cars we sell. They'll take them periodically. They'll do a drive, they'll do a rally, they'll do a tour, they'll do an event. But 9 out of 10 times we accompany that car to that event. So then the car comes back here, sits for storage, goes to the next event. We handle the car for service. So we're very, very hands-on here. Not a job that gets done that I don't at least oversee. Look, a lot of times I'm out there dry icing. We've been doing dry icing for 7 years before anybody even knew what it was in the car field. I learned about it from a Ferrari judge that did a car at Pebble Beach and it was unrestored. I'm like, how'd you get the car so clean? And I learned, I'm like, I'm gonna take that with me. I never meet most people. So their first impression of me is when that car rolls off the truck. And they may not notice something, but they may have a crazy car friend that's gonna notice it, and I don't ever wanna get that phone call. People are buying a car for 6 or 7 figures like, oh, you didn't tell me about this mark, or I saw this mark under here, or the chassis was dirty, or this was dirty. Every car we do gets prepared like it's going to Cavallino or Pebble Beach. I mean, that's how it is. Nothing, if I know there's something, it'll bother me. So I don't release a car to anybody until it passes my muster, if you will. Don't hesitate to reach out to us if you're one of those people. And I'm sure after watching this video, you'll be like, you know what, that's actually a great idea. Let me actually call them because I do have 5 million, 10 million, 50 million in cars plus, and we're passionate about it. We'll work with the insurance companies and quarterly do, conference calls and valuations, and is the market up or down on them? Are they paying too much insurance? If they're not driving it, does it need to be registered? Maybe we just have insurance on it. Insuring these cars is quite expensive, especially once you have a collection that's over 10 million bucks. It becomes quite costly. So, shipping these cars, moving around, there's always liability, there's always a cost. Getting them serviced, you have to get them serviced. Where do I get them serviced? Because I want my clients to come back for more than one car. We're just finding more and more cars, and more cars are finding us, and this is a new chapter of growth for us here in Palm Beach, and we're really looking forward to welcoming you to the family.